The WRC is reaching boiling point. In the race for the Drivers' Championship, 3 drivers arrived at this penultimate event in Spain, separated by just 3 points. Sebastian Loeb, Mikko Hirvonen and Sebastian Ogier have all been seeking to gain the upper hand over the last 3 days. And any bonus points they can pick up from the live power stage will also be very useful. As ever, the power stage is the final stage of this event. That starts in around 10 minutes. So far, Loeb has been dominating in Spain. He's been fastest on both the gravel and tarmac stages that make up this event. So he's in championship pole position going into this final day. Mikko Hirvonen struggled in the dust and gravel on day 1, but he's maintaining his challenge, holding a top 3 position. But Sebastian Ogier has been slowed by punctures. He started today outside the podium places. Spain's Catalonia region has been the long-time host to this event, with the 18 gravel and tarmac stages taking place to the south of Barcelona. Rally HQ and the service park are situated in the holiday resort of Salou on the Costa Dorada. And here are those all-important championship standings. Sebastian Loeb and Mikko Hirvonen are both on 196 points in the drivers' title race. Loeb holds the top spot thanks to his greater number of wins, while Ogier is just 3 points behind on 193. It's a bit more clear-cut in the Manufacturers' Championship. Citroën are 54 points ahead of Ford. The French team could claim that title by the end of the power stage. And the weather has closed in here in Spain. We've had a heavy rain shower in the last half an hour. It's going to make this final stage really treacherous. Around 8 minutes to go until the first car arrives. There's a traffic roundabout down there. We just saw it. It's at the end of the power stage. Always been a really popular spectator point. The fans are all covered up. A terrific atmosphere building out here, despite the inclement conditions. The Col de la Teixeta power stage is a 4.3-kilometre sprint on some classic Catalan roads that flow along the side of a valley. The only break in rhythm will be when the cars negotiate that roundabout, where the fans are gathered just before the end. And the prize for the fastest driver, 3 bonus points to add to their tally in the overall classification. Second place gets 2 points, third place 1. And how crucial could they be in that fight for the championship? The Rally d'Espagne got going beneath the palm trees of Salou's seafront, where the home nation's Danny Sordo was the star attraction at the ceremonial start. With the cars going out with a gravel setup for Friday's stages, the drivers would have been thinking that the short tarmac sections were where they might be caught out, but it was on the long gravel sections where the headlines were made. Peter Solberg's day ended on the very first stage when he clipped a concrete drain, removing a wheel. And this same lump of stone would also cause the downfall of Ken Block.
Right, 2 flats, don't cut, narrow, repeat it.
Championship hopeful Mikko Hirvonen in the Ford Fiesta was avoiding any such mishap, but the gravel was creating a serious problem for him, with the reduced visibility caused by the hanging dust trail left by the car ahead. And the car ahead was his main rival for the championship, Citroën Sebastian Loeb. For once, being first on a gravel stage was an advantage, as he used his clear view of the stage to top the standings at the end of the first morning. But Ford had another card to play in Jari-Matti Latvala. With the gaps between cars increased, Loeb's road order advantage was significantly reduced for the afternoon stages. The Finn set about reeling in the Frenchman, taking the lead on stage 4, a lead which he doubled on the following test. But his fine run came to a halt on the day's final night stage when this spin and a puncture cost him over half a minute. There was some encouragement at the end of the day for Latvala's teammate Hirvonen, who moved closer to Loeb in the standings when he took third place away from Sebastian Ogier, who was slowed by a puncture.
Pression droite 135 moins, ouais.
The Salou Service Park was a hive of activity at the end of the first day as the team's mechanics worked to transform the gravel-spec WRC cars into low-riding tarmac machines for day 2. 2 drivers would not be seeing the tarmac stages though. Peter Solberg, who decided to preserve his Citroën for the final round in Wales, and Kimi Räikkönen also elected not to restart after a fuel leak on stage 3. The first day of tarmac started well for Sebastian Loeb. He was fastest in the first 2 stages. But Latvala was pushing hard to catch him. He set 3 fastest stage times to erode the Frenchman's lead throughout the day, but he would return to Salou, still the best part of 30 seconds behind. Sébastien Ogier suffered another puncture on the opening stage of day 2, dropping him down to 6th, behind the minis of Danny Sordo and Chris Meek. However, he soon made up time to recover 5th place. Ogier is under orders not to fight his teammate for the driver's title, but those team orders were starting to look academic, with Loeb still out in front. Mikko Hirvonen was maintaining his challenge for the championship. He held his 3rd place throughout the day. He was a long way behind the front 2, but still had to keep pushing to hold off the challenge from Danny Sordo. The Spaniard posted his first fastest stage time of the event on stage 11, consolidating his hold on 4th. His aim must be to make it onto the podium again on his home event. So this was the state of play going into this final day of the RACC Rally Catalunya on Spain's Costa Dorada. Loeb leading Latvala by 27.6 seconds. Hirvonen is nearly a minute and a half behind his teammate. He's followed by Danny Sordo and Sébastien Ogier. Just a few minutes now until the first car enters the power stage. This twisty road snakes its way alongside the edge of the valley. You can see there's a new replacement bypass below. The road used for the power stage is actually closed to the public these days, and those parked cars give you an idea how many fans are up here. And Col de la Teixeta will be the last of 6 stages on this final day. Here's a roundup of what's happened in the previous 5. After losing time to Latvala over the course of the second day, Loeb was in no mood to concede any more ground to the Finn. He made up 3.6 seconds on the opening stage of the day. Latvala fought back in the following stages, but his pressure was still not enough to force any errors from the rally leader. In the crucial fight for 3rd place, Hirvonen started well by making a few seconds back from Danny Sordo in the day's opening test. But the time gained would soon become academic. After picking up a right rear puncture in the 2nd stage of the morning, Sordo lost half a minute, all but ending his hopes of catching the Ford man, and it allowed Ogier to close right up. That was until the previous stage, though. We've had late drama here in Spain. Ogier is out with an engine problem in the penultimate stage. So Sordo is safe in 4th, and there's now 2 minis in the top 5 with Meek moving up. Also, as we saw in France, Ford have called in team orders to get Latvala to drop behind Hirvonen to give him the best chance possible in the Drivers' Championship. Before we get going, let's take a closer look at the 4.32 kilometres that make up the power stage. It will be high speed most of the way on this smooth flowing piece of tarmac and double lane all the way. As you can see, this strip of road hangs high up on the side of the valley, so big problems if you lead the road on either side. Constant cornering as well, and as they approach the flying finish, the cars will slow as they negotiate a hairpin left around that famous roundabout. This is how the WRC crews line up. Khalid Al-Qasimi is first in his Ford Fiesta. He's followed by Jere Lemes, who's driving a Skoda Fabia S2000 for the Volkswagen test team. Dennis Kuipers has moved into the points on this final day after the retirements for Wilson and Ogier. Then comes Evgeny Novikov, who switched from a Ford to a Citroën on this event. And Federico Villagra is back for his first event since June. Then it's M Sport Norwegians, Henning Solberg and Mads Osberg. Mini's Chris Meek is taking on a power stage for the first time, but the fans will save their biggest cheers for his teammate Danny Sordo. Then it's our top 3. Mikko Hirvonen, he's now past Jari-Matti Latvala, and both will go all out to try and take points from the rally leader Loeb, but that's easier said than done on tarmac. So it's our first tarmac power stage not run in a city centre, and this test will be the quickest asphalt power stage we'll see in 2011. It's really going to be classic Catalan action out there, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that rain shower that we had, or heavy rain shower we had about 15 minutes ago, is just going to add a little bit of spice to it. Khalid got 25 seconds to go. But I tell you what, Khalid now will be finding some information out about the conditions to pass back to his team, where the water is, where the rain is. Helicopter hovering over as we look across the valley.
Yeah, it's really a game changer. It's stopped raining now, but it was a really, really heavy shower just minutes ago, really. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the conditions have changed. Here we go, Khalid Al-Qasimi into the stage, and let's get our first look at this Col de la Chaussette power stage.
Obviously, these guys are on the same tyres that they took in the service. They've done 2 stages. Now, we believe most cars are on hards, but we do know that minis have taken soft tyres all over the place. So these cars are going to be moving around quite a lot. They're on a harder tyre. You see the car sliding around. Oh, he's going to be
really lucky not to spin there from Khalid.
He's on a recce run for Hirvonen and Latvala. Seriously, he will be. They'll be feeding as much information back after this stage to their 2 drivers. Obviously, they've got a few minutes to go. You can see the standing water there.
Yep.
Touch the white lines. They're painted. They are really, really tricky. You don't want to be on the white lines, but they have no option because the racing line is across them. The dotted ones aren't so bad. It's the solid white lines that are the tricky ones. You see the water coming out the back. You've got to watch your braking. This morning when they did it, it was bone dry. Now it's a completely different ball game.
Oh, he's almost lost it again. Really, really slippery out there. And none of these drivers are really on the right tyres.
Well, they've not. I can't. When did they drive in the wet on these new tyres? I'm trying to think now. I don't think they have driven in the wet on these new tyres with the Michelin's. You've got a soft and a hard compound. Obviously, harder is more durable for hotter conditions. The soft is for like cooler conditions and damp. They don't have none of them have got a wet. They do have that option, but they didn't take it at lunchtime. So that is not an option for them. They're on what they call a racing tyre, a moulded slick. Understeering like mad in there. It's a moulded racing slick, and you have a hard or a soft compound. Minis have got softs because they thought it was going to rain earlier than it did, as we just wait for Khalid to come through. So yeah, Khalid, I believe most of them are on hards. We definitely know that the minis are on softs, and they could be in the prime seat this weekend. Again, you see the spray and the lines he's leaving.
Yeah. Well, this is a massive variable that's been thrown into the mix on this final power stage. And of course, with the championship now basically between Loeb and Hirvonen, with Ogier going out, as we just said, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what these guys can do.
I think right now the car of Hirvonen has just got to get through. You can't, because you never know what could happen. Loeb could have a spin in here, anything. So you've just got to get through. It's very tricky. Let's listen to Khalid. Let's listen to Michael Orr.
60. Left 3 tightens.
I'd be intrigued to see what they say after the stage when they go across the finish, if we can hear in. I'm not sure whether we still will.
He's all over the place, really having to tiptoe his way through. We're really high up here as well, so this sudden rain shower really has caught people out. They would have had weather.
The winning time this morning was 2:37. He's got another slide on here. It's great to watch.
It is great to watch. I mean, just getting through it's going to be enough of a challenge for some of these drivers. The fans are going to be in for a treat, and we saw a big old slide from Khalid here this morning. Let's see him this time. Big squeal of the tyre.
It's now drying at the stop line. Yeah. The sun is out where we are here.
311.1, and as you said, that's a lot slower. Almost, well, over half a minute slower than we saw this morning. It is incredibly slippery out there, and anything could happen in the next 50 minutes or so. This is going to be a thrilling finish.
The shake of the head from Michael. I mean, obviously you've got to use the lines, but you don't want to be on the white lines as much as you can. A nice power slide through there.
Incredibly close to spinning, though.
Yes, very close to spinning. Once it starts like that, driver-wise, you turn into the slide and plant the throttle, because the front wheels will drag you in the direction of where they're parked.
Back on the start line, it's local star Jere Lemes. He's driving the Skoda Fabia S2000 car. This is the Volkswagen test team. And the first chance I think we've had to see these guys in the power stage. They've been developing a lot of stuff behind the scenes with the new Volkswagen Polo R. For now, they're using their